Hey everyone, Kilpo1 here. So the patch just released today for Forever Winter. We have a new patch, new map, so on and so forth. And I thought we'd go over the a few of the patch notes today, talk about a few different first impressions, and yeah, talk about the patch. So for right now, let's go top to bottom of the different improvements and other fixes they've made for the game, and I'll kind of give you my first impressions of these and how they feel currently. Improvements, performance improvements. I didn't really have any performance issues yet, though I have had reports that, you know, people have experienced gains from before. One big addition to the game has been DLSS, so people now have access to that. I turned it on. I didn't see a massive improvement, like a couple of FPS, so, you know, better than nothing, but I didn't see a giant gain from having DLSS, so it's probably just more of a CPU-bound game in that regard. But moving on. Additional quests. There are numerous additional quests now for most, if not all, of the maps. The vast majority of these probably being on the new map, like 5 or 6 on the new map. So yeah, additional quests. They also did some rebalancing we'll go over a little bit later in regards to like the rewards you get per quest, kind of making them a lot more equal as opposed to only 1 or 2 quests giving you all the money. Drone improvements. Both the drones for Europa and Eurasia have kind of done a slight overhaul, if you will. First things first, they both got sound redesigns. They both sound amazing now. They kind of have that like kind of reverby, helicopter-y feel to them now. One big thing also is that their AI has been changed a bit. They are much less likely, or they don't even do it anymore in regards to just like randomly shooting you out of nowhere. You generally have a large amount of leeway now in regards to drones. And then the Eurasia drones got an animation overhaul too. They look great, and I can't wait to see riders actually ride those Eurasia drones. Inner prayer responses, I haven't seen anything about this yet. It's always only ever been no response from me yet, so let me know in the comments below if you saw anything else with the prayer responses, but I haven't seen anything yet with that. Mech trench improvements. Mainly aesthetic that I've noticed so far, maybe some clipping and some kind of opening up of certain areas, like maybe removing some debris. But I haven't seen a giant change with Mech Trench. It went from being in progress to just being released now, Mech Trench. And I personally thought that would mean a variant, though I've tried to force the variant to spawn. I've heard others, you know, try to get the variant to no luck if there is one. So it seems that this might be the only map in the game right now that doesn't have a variant for it, which is interesting. It feels kind of out of place if that's the case. The weapon hand placement improvements. So back before, a lot of characters would have models that would actually block the sights of their weapons with their hand. That's been fixed through all characters. No longer an issue. It's fantastic. There's still some other issues we'll talk about later, but at least that's fixed for now. ADS aim down sights improvements feels a little bit better. This is anecdotal. I didn't really measure it per se, but it does feel like animation wise, it does feel a bit crisper. Recruit AI order improvements. Didn't really experience this yet, so if you want to play around with it, play around with the AI, see if they follow orders better. I noticed that before in the previous patch, they were always like, you know, they wouldn't stand still. They would always like run around even when you told them to stand still. So I'm guessing that's got fixed. Player movement improvements. The movement does feel genuinely better. The animations feel crisper. It doesn't feel like you're floaty some of the times. There's still always the issues with you know, pathing or like running into something that's solid that you should be able to walk over, but for the most part, it's vastly improved. Revive UI, haven't seen yet. If you play morally in groups, let me know how this is. AI pathing and combat improvements. This I can definitely say has been improved. It's still clearly AI, but they don't get stuck on terrain as much as they used to anymore, like staircases, hills, terrain. The AI paths a lot better to you now, which makes them more threatening. Like for example, scramblers would do this a ton. They would be pretty janky in regards to their pathing, and they would get stuck a lot, and so they wouldn't actually charge at you. Scramblers, much scarier now for Eurasia. And combat improvements. Yeah, I mean, like, I would say combat feels overall a little bit more deadly. It's still very manageable, like, it's still not punishing. But I will say, this might be discussed later, one big thing to note, and I'll talk about this later, medkits now slow you when you heal when you're sprinting. So if you are sprinting with a medkit, if you pop a medkit while sprinting, it is going to stop you in place, or not stop you in place. It's going to slow you down from a sprint, and you can sprint right back up after that, but that it will slow you down ever so often. So if you're running away trying to spam heal from cyborgs, they'll have these windows to catch up as you're healing. I kind of like the core idea. It's a bit chunky for now, a little clunky, but I like the core concept of it. I like the idea of like not being able to heal your way through like actual fights without using cover or like tactics. Camera collision improvements. I haven't really noticed this at all, but like if I'm not noticing it, that's probably a good thing. AI proximity audio additions and improvements. I have noticed that the AI in regards to responding to audio acts a bit different now. They're a bit more aggressive when it comes to sound, but they don't react to certain things anymore. So for example, a big thing being doors. Doors seem to no longer drive the AI insane like they used to. If you ever did a door mech trench, for example, you open up a door, everyone in your vicinity comes running to you. No longer seems to be the case, especially for this new map, has quite a few doors on it. That's quite nice. Audio improvements, yeah. It's definitely still work in progress. There's a lot of audio improvements across the board for a lot of different units, and they sound great. I just wish there was more of them. We're kind of in this like little like weird middle spot, right? Where some of the audios have been improved and then some of the audios are still the same. So you kind of have this like gap in quality, but eventually they should all get there, right? As they continue to progress, but where they're going feels good for now in regards to that. All right, moving over to bug fixes. We have scope fixes. So there are a few weapons that would break their scopes if you had certain attachments on, like muzzle brakes. Those were fixed. If the weapon itself was misaligned, like say for example, if you were shooting at your dot and it was landing like 2 or 3 dots below that, that's still not fixed yet. The scopes are still misaligned. But for anything that would like, you know, ruin it, like for example, the NWT-20, if you had a muzzle brake on, it would fuck up your scope. That's been fixed. AI mantling and vaulting, yeah, the AI just moves better now. So if they were having trouble mantling before, it's definitely fixed now. The AI just overall just moves better through the map. Buddy AI control, I haven't experienced this, I haven't really run with AI yet. So let me know how this is to you guys if you tried running with it. Weight feedback. Weight's been changed quite a bit. I'm not sure if the UI has been fully changed to support it yet. I'll have to look into this more later. Let me know what you guys find too down in the comments, because weight seems to have changed a lot, especially for the characters who weren't natively fast. Like for example, you would really only feel weight on the really fast characters, but it feels like you can feel weight on at least quite a few of the characters now. And also you seem to be carrying a lot, like, you know, bringing an ammo now, it seems to be very heavy. I'm not sure if the UI is bugged or what, but just let me know what you guys see too. UI fixes, I haven't really noticed any UI fixes. I noticed the UI got a little bit changed here, like smaller thumbnails, so on and so forth. So maybe that's what they're considering fixes, but the UI does look better in regards to inventory management. Moving over to quest dialogue. I didn't really notice this at all, but you know, let me know what you see. Localizations, can't comment on this. Quest bugs, I've been trying to explore a few of these quests that say they've been fixed. I haven't noticed any of them been fixed yet. The big one being AA tech extraction. It still does this weird thing with AA tech where it spawns the wrong vehicle called the armored vehicle for Europa. So I don't think that quest has been fixed. We'll have to explore more later. I do want to do the one that's on Nexus where you have to pull the lever and then go over to Scorched Enclave. Quest bugs, yeah, moving on to collision improvements. Does seem to be generally better. There's still instances of running into walls, but like for the most part, you're less likely to get stuck. Now, gate bugs. Now, I'm not sure what gates they're referring to. If they're referring to doors, I haven't had any issues with doors. What I have had issues with is with keypad puzzles. There seems to be a pretty good chance on when you're using a keypad puzzle now to open those locked doors or do like, you know, data heist, it bugs you out and it basically soft locks you. So just keep that in mind, be very careful, or just don't do them at all right now until they hotfix it. Don't do keypad puzzles, don't do data heist, don't do any of those minigame puzzles, because there's a good chance the majority of the time it's going to soft lock you. So avoid that like the plague. AI spawning improvements. This seems to be the case for almost every map except for the new map. There is still pop-in. There's still definitely areas where the AI will pop in. Like for example, on Mech Trench, There will still be pop-in when you go indoors to the mech area. And then none of it's been deadly so far except for the new map. I have had an instance of pop-in on the new map, the AI spawning in right around you, which instantly killed me. So it's better. It doesn't seem as egregious as before, but it's definitely still not fixed. So just be wary. There will be instances still of being spawned around, especially on the new map. Vendor UI fixes. Yeah, I guess that's just probably a few overall things to the UI. Quest and faction affiliation fixes. I haven't looked into this at all. Looting fixes. Okay, so looting fixes. So they made a change with the loot all mechanic. When you loot all right now, the items that get into your inventory that are question marks, you can no longer drop. Unsure if this is a bug or not, so just keep that in mind. When you loot all now, the items that you pick up, they're in your inventory until you leave. You cannot drop them. I'm not sure if this will stay. I kind of like it as a concept, but I think it's a bit too draconian. I would want to see the ability to maybe open up your inventory and search it. So what you essentially do is you offload the searching for later. So you just shove everything in your backpack, you go off to some safe corner where you can actually explore what you found, or look at what you found, and then the accrued interest, if you will, of having to do this loot all eventually catches up to you, but you can do it in a safe spot, right? For right now, it seems a bit too harsh. Yeah, weapon customization fixes. General weapon customization fixes, I haven't really noticed anything. Everything seems to be working fine in that regard. The biggest thing I'll say here with this is that the thumbnails for the UI now work. So before, in the previous patch, you would have to look at your gun on the customization screen to see what weapon attachments you have. Now the thumbnail accurately reflects what you are currently having on your gun. So if you have a weird silencer, you have a weird handguard, you have a meme gun, if you will, it's very easy to tell which gun those are because they're actually fully displayed now in the thumbnail, which is a very nice change. New features. Water Death 1.2 and Water Thieves. So there's new NPCs called Water Thieves. There's one quest in the game that pertains to them, and you have Water Death 1.2. Anecdotally, I can't say I experienced this firsthand. How this works apparently is when you get low on water, as opposed to failing and getting your inventory reset, you have an event where you need to defend your base against the Water Thieves, I guess. That's what I've heard. I don't know if this is true or not. I like the idea of Water Thieves if they're going to do invasions eventually. It's a kind of an interesting idea if water's important like that. It feels like it's weird how they would attack people with low water. I feel like it should be the opposite, but I don't know. I definitely like the baseline system. We'll see where it goes. Underground Cemetery map. So a new map. It's an in-progress map. It's again all indoors. It's relatively small, but it's a small map, but it's got a lot of levels and it's a lot of depth to each area in it. So it is interesting. It's not like Nexus. It's a little bit bigger than Nexus in regards to the total amount you can explore. The biggest thing about this new map right now, and if you don't want spoilers, skip ahead. So this map currently always has a grabber on it. A grabber stalker, basically, the Euruscan dog. And he patrols around, walks around. It seems like he's pretty aggressive going towards sound, so if you shoot a lot, if you fight a lot, he seems to move towards you, generally speaking. Maybe not in an aggro sense, but in a pathing sense. I can't back that up, but it just feels that way for right now. But the biggest thing though is grabbers, yeah, we've had grabbers on trenches, we've had grabber on mausoleum. It's not too big of a deal, we just run around it. The grabber has changed a bit. On the plus side, you can now see the grabber on tac cams. The downside is before the grabber would one-shot you at 1k HP, the grabber now one-shots you if you're below 2k HP. And there seems to be maybe a disconnect on where its one-shot hitbox is, because I've personally been killed by it and someone else has been killed by it, where it's been like 10, 20 feet away and it does that animation on you, right? Which feels incredibly weird. I was shooting it from across a room and the animation played and I died. So it seems like this map is really trying to force you into the you need to be stealthy approach, which it's fine, but it just feels a bit disjointed for right now for the grabber to do that. If the grabber didn't do that, unless it was like right next to you, I can see that being better. But I can definitely see this being a very quick and common complaint about this map, is it's hard to have fun on this map where you're constantly having to worry about the grabber. It does kind of create a different scenario, but it also makes it kind of monotonous, I will say. It, you know, when you have a unit like the grabber constantly spawn on the map, it kind of creates scenarios where the map always plays the same. It is work in progress though too, right? So it could just be the fact that they didn't want to have to do any other, you know, unit variations on it. But I definitely think that's like my main complaint about the map right now. It looks great. I love the pass on it, right? The verticality of it. But the grabber makes it kind of forced to play it a certain way, which I mean, is supposed to be a stealth game, but at the same time, like, you know, make it an Orgomech, make it some other like elite unit. That doesn't have to necessarily be a grabber at all times. Rat King. So our Lord and Savior, the Rat King, is now a ribbon. Rat King is a beautiful mech boy that is of the Scav faction. If you are graced by his presence, he will murder everything around you, and he doesn't target you because you're a Scav, so don't shoot him and he's your friend. There's like a quest or two for him. I'm not sure how to do those quests yet, I haven't looked into it too much. But yeah, he's really fucking cool when you see him. And he's got a really cool model also. Very well done. DLSS, pretty self-explanatory. I haven't noticed a huge improvement with it yet. I probably need to do a few restarts and like actually tuning it and playing around with it to see if it actually works out well for me. Let me know if you have good experience with it. But like I only got like a 5-6 frames with it. Going down over to tuning, per caliber headshot damage. So they didn't do an overpass or an overhaul of each weapon type basically, or each weapon ammo for damage, for flat damage. But what they did do is go to a lot of the ammo and change the headshot multiplier or damage, right? So the biggest things you'll notice off this is the calibers or guns that weren't very used often, like the 12.7 millimeter subsonic and the 357 Magnum. Those will one-shot infantry to the head now. They're still really bad guns. Like, don't get me wrong, the 8 and 5 rounds, the unaligned sights, like they're still basically unusable. But it is interesting to see the fact that like, okay, they can one-shot headshot now infantry, so they're not totally useless. But yeah, mostly like, yeah, every gun got rebalanced a little bit for headshot damage. And I have heard anecdotally, I haven't tried it yet, that the Scar is a lot better now because of this. The Scar before was very middling because it 200 damage with 50 cal doesn't do a lot, but apparently it has a lot of headshot damage now, so it has that kind of trade-off, right? Which is interesting, you should try it out. Vendor buy and sell rates and quest rewards and loot drop. Basically, these last 3 items, they have rebalanced the economy a bit. They're trying to make money less easy to come by, a little bit more grindy to get money. The one thing I noticed with a lot of these, right, is that the gachas on Enclave aren't easy to farm anymore. They seem to spawn in different parts also of the map. So if you're really used to like a gacha container run, they're not as probable. And the one gacha I did get off of Enclave, not very many guns, mostly ammo, a few rig upgrades, and like 1 gun. So it definitely seems like they're trying to cut down on the loot runs, if you will, to make money. Other undocumented things. The big thing here that's not currently really in the patch notes is you can no longer repair weapons from the destroyed state. So before, you would bring in a weapon in the destroyed state into a raid, and it would go from destroyed to disabled. That's gone. You can still find disabled guns in raid and take them out and they will be repaired, but destroyeds will always be destroyed. Destroyeds are always vendor trash now, so just keep that in mind. You can no longer repair destroyed guns. Another big thing, muzzle flash on every gun is still egregious for the most part. There's a few guns that are fine, but like, if muzzle flash was a big thing for you, it's not fixed yet. Like, every gun still has very much blinding muzzle flash. And then, yeah, I've mentioned this before, but we'll close on this. Sights are still inaccurate. Some guns are better than others. Third-person aiming is still fine. The sights themselves, most guns, if not all guns, are pretty inaccurate in iron sights. Though third-person aiming is still fine, so yeah. But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for, tuning in. That's the patch notes, kind of the first take. We'll see how it eventually ends up. See if there's any hotfixes. There's gotta be a few hotfixes, right? But yeah, overall, I think if it's an overall good patch. There's definitely some fumbles here and there, but collectively, I think that's in the right direction. And hopefully we'll see some more fixes in the future. Thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts on the patch down below in the comments.